I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. Where's the thing? There it is, I found it. Sorry, joining me to talk about some bits and bobs, one obvious subject, and a little side story, is Trups. Say hi, Trups. That was satisfying.
Hello, Trups.
How is Trups?
Doing all right.
Yeah? How's your birthday?
I have to apologize, yes. Last week... See, unfortunately, I am a creature of habit. And so when I broke the habit, Linkin Park, on Friday, it was because my wife and I went to go see a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I went onto Meg's Twitch stream to tell him, hey, I'm sorry, we can't do the stream last week, and let's reschedule for the next day.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I failed to remember myself, and I felt awful because I was like, I was the one who went out of the way and tried to reschedule it. He said yes.
Yep.
Like, we made this work, and then I just fucking blew it. And then I looked at the messages.
I was sat here for 30 minutes waiting. I was in my chat as well.
Sorry.
I was in the chat as well saying, I have no idea where Trups is. I've messaged. I was going to go to Facebook and be like, surely he'll answer there. And I thought, no, he's clearly gone some. Yeah, memory like Joe Biden, exactly that. No, it was
absolutely, and I deserved it.
This is. I think this has only happened once before.
Yeah.
I think only once. And to be honest, didn't really mind. I was really tired anyway, so it didn't bother me. I wanted to talk about the carpool karaoke, especially as we now know North Korea are going to be supplying troops to Ukraine, to Russia, to go to Ukraine. I assume that comes with some monetary benefit, of course, for Kim Jong Fat Boy. So obviously the subject matter is going to be quite heavy on the US. We'll get to that in a moment. Actually, no. Firstly, how has your week been?
Besides, messing up that show, otherwise it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I passed I've been studying for something for work, a certification of sorts, that I've been working on for the past month.
Okay.
And I took the test on Wednesday and I passed.
Oh, congratulations.
I would tell you, it was stressing me the fuck out.
But you got through it, and that's all that matters.
I did, and it was.
No, you should be very proud of you. It doesn't matter how rough it was. You got through. That's all that matters. I've been in a similar. Three of my nieces do gymnastics, and they have to practice movements. Now I've discovered, of the three nieces, each one has a weakness. One can't do cartwheels. One can't do proper gymnastic-style roly-polies, and one can't do handstands. What happens is, the one that does handstands either doesn't put enough power into it or puts too much and flips over into what can be considered a cartwheel, right?
Yes.
So I said, right, now do it weaker and build up in strength. And eventually, after about 10 minutes of just calmly doing this, as opposed to my sister, who's a bit more authoritative, she got it and held it for a good second. And I was like, that's a Mississippi, I'll allow it, go practice that. You now know where you need to be. The one that couldn't do roly-polies, what she can do now is she can roll most of it, but she can't get up on her feet. She lands on her backside and can't bring her legs up because her knees are used to not being locked. Practice makes perfect.
Find a roly-poly for me.
You roll. You roll.
Is it like just backwards roll, forward roll?
Front roll.
Oh, okay.
But the gymnastic version, your knees are locked. Like
Yes,
they're
the one that you come out of
into a stand. But she can't do that. She is now in a position where she can almost do it. And it took 10 minutes of just calmly showing her the video of her doing it and saying, right, put a fuggler between your knees and keep it there. And that's what she did. She kept the fuggler between her knees and she got it. She has the best form of, and she's the youngest, of anything else. Went to the oldest of the group, not the oldest in total, and I was like, right, your cartwheels. To do a cartwheel, I know how to do this easily. I've demonstrated. You just you go with your strongest arm first, and you make sure it's near your front foot. She leans forward about a foot in front of her, and then does a bunny hop. And I'm like, no. So I was
not quite.
But then she didn't help herself, because when I showed her the video of her making the mistake, and I said, look, you just need to bring your arms closer together. Bring your arm closer together. She got uppity and huffy and then walked away and pouted. And I thought, clearly you're not the type I can do that kind of teaching technique with. And I simply then put on what is called the dad voice. It's a control voice, right?
I understand. It's not necessarily lower, but it combines a lowness, a sternness, and a bit of a volume change.
I don't want to ever use it really, because I'm not a father. But the other two nieces respond well to a more positive attitude. She pouts, can't allow that. The children are the enemy. Right. So instead, I assert...
The children are the enemy?
Absolutely they are. So I asserted control and said, stop pouting, stop being a little bitch, put your hands where they need to be, and keep working on this. Because you can do handstands perfectly, roly-polies, you can do all these other things perfect. You just can't do a cartwheel. Chunks, get back to it.
It is remarkable. As a person who has tried later on in life to learn more physical skills, I did parkour in college, and you'd think like, oh yeah, parkour, that's such a memeable thing. It's borderline just basic gymnastics theory.
It is,
right? And so I will tell you the amount of times that I failed, basically handstands for the group of 20 dudes was, all right, here's the wall. Everybody, I want you to flip up your hands. And at first, I want you to lean into the wall. Yeah. So that you can understand where that, how to actually stand on your hands without touching the wall. Mm-hmm. Then I want you to gently tap the wall as you go in, and then eventually I want you to do a handstand without touching the wall.
So me and my fellow middle sibling, when my mum and dad broke up, my mum would drop us off at school at about 7:30 in the morning, which is an hour before anyone turned up. So we'd be in the playground on our own. She and I would do cartwheels, handstands, and all this other gymnastics stuff because we were bored. There were like hopscotch things on the path. We try and do walk on handstands. So it was something I could do as a child. I can't do it right now though because I've naffed up my shoulder. But I've just pulled a muscle. Anyway, this is obviously it's just an interesting thing of my nieces are doing this because they do qualifications for those gymnastics. That's why I was tying it into your thing because I wanted them to do better. I'd like to start this, if that's okay. I've got something in my hand, and it all arrived today. Mail I received. On July the 4th, as many of you will know, in the United Kingdom, we have a general election. Don't care about it, really. I really don't. Because I don't know who to vote for, and so I probably won't vote. And don't say, oh, if you don't vote, you can't moan. Actually, I bloody well can. It is in my genetics. Shut up.
And I will.
Actually, on one of these things in my hand, it does actually say July 4th. I don't have a party I want to vote for. We vote for the politician, not the party. So I will not be saying I'm going to back this party or that. No, I'll back the MP that does what I think they'll do best for my area. If they betray that, I will tell them to their face. So in the post today, I've received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pamphlets for individual politicians, for individual parties. I have one for the Green Party. I have an Independent. I have Reform UK. I have... who's this one? This is Conservatives. I have Labour twice because they're so stupid they had to count it that many times. We have the who are these Liberal Democrats? I have Labour again, because 3 times obviously what's going to get me. English Democrats and another Independent. I have got so many pamphlets, and each and every one of them is a load of bollocks.
Oh, of course it is.
Like, honestly, like it says here, Keir Starmer has changed the Labour Party and has a fully funded plan to change Britain. Of course it's fully funded. It involves borrowing a shitload of money. You have, I think, Reform UK, Stop the Boats, Make Work Pay, Zero Waiting Lists, Freeze Immigration. Okay. Being born... Oh, no, that's donate... Okay. This Independent says he'll donate 40% of his salary back into community development. That's an Independent. He's not getting voted in. The Green Party, they say they'll... Oh, what are they going to do? Let's open... Oh, does this open up? Yes, it does. Okay, what does it say on the inside? Defend the NHS, affordable homes for everyone, back an immediate ceasefire in Israel and Gaza, protect our seas and rivers, defend nature and urgent... Fuck off, you're not going to get in. Independent here. What is he going to do? Oh, he's got a list. Oh my god, that's a lot. No, he's not doing any of that. English Democrats, deport all illegal immigrants. I support that, oddly enough. Let's see. Liberal Democrats, save our NHS, end the cost of living crisis, stop sewage dumping scandal. That's not as much of a talking point as she would like it to be. Sorry. The MP for my area, who isn't voted in yet, he's running for Labour. He says tackle the cost of living, get the NHS back on its feet, secure our borders, and make our streets safe. Which is a load of bollocks, because Labour will never do that. I've got freaking 10 pamphlets here. I've sent. This is so much paper. We want to do more for the environment. Stop printing this shit out and just send it via email so I can put it in my spam folder like everyone else does. Honestly, our mailbox was full of those today. Those are the 10 I separated because they were all different types. So while I had 3 Labour pamphlets, they were all different. One was the MP, one was the party, and the other one's some generic bullcrap that no one cares about. Like, honestly, this is absolute nonsense. It is, and Labour are going to win regardless. We all know that. But in my constituency, if Labour do win, it would be a big swing. This place voted UKIP and Conservatives for over a decade. They really do vote more Conservative here. But I've seen more Labour pickets than ever before. The one thing that's really torn this area up is that we had an MP that went to prison for being a bit of a naughty Tory with women. And his wife took over, and she's vacated and gone to Labour now. She's not vacated. She's defected. That's the term. She's defective. Well, she's defective as well, but defected.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, thank you. I don't see the bleeding point. Labour could win this place though, because now it's not got a solid Conservative presence. I have old school friends that were very close to me, and I recently re-added them on Facebook and stuff, and had a good chuckle at this. I saw on their Instagram they're a 20-year, so lifelong for them as far as voting goes, lifelong Conservative supporter, and I was like, wait, what? I never would have thought that for this guy. But he is voting Reform UK because he's so pissed off with how the Conservatives are stabbing the people in the back. He supported Brexit. He does not support any version of a Conservative party or any party that will vote or try and even consider getting us into the EU again. Mm-hmm. She's an MP, of course. The term is defective. That's very true, Orla. And Veganista, yes, I see what you've written, all your comments, and you're right. Anyone who votes Trump is a racist because that's what Biden said 4 years ago. He also said you're not black if you vote for him, if you don't vote Democrat. So I'm as far as what's going to happen on the 4th of July goes, I genuinely don't know what the opposition will be, but Labour are definitely winning. They're going to win. They have, even after the debate that happened, the last one, where, and I'm sorry, but I watched these carefully. Rishi Sunak performed better than Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer lacked a natural wit to be able to respond without having to rely on a script of quips. You know, like people who can't naturally, like Trump in the debates, he has a natural flow. Rishi Sunak has that as well, but he's a lot more kind and polite about it. If you want to hate the Conservatives, that's fine. Be objective. He did better than Starmer, but it does not change that the resounding perspective across the nation is, I don't care, get rid of the Conservatives. Because we don't know what Reform UK are going to do, how they're going to do, what the voter turnout's going to be for them, they're a complete unknown. We don't know whether it will be a Conservative opposition, whether Lib Dems will surprise us and get a rather substantial amount, or whether Reform UK could be the opposition. We don't know. We know it will be an opposition, though, but we don't know how much of a majority Labour will get either. Don't forget, 5 years ago, Boris had a phenomenal majority. He had it. Not phenomenal. No, he had a decent majority. Yeah, decent. Right? He had it. Okay? But COVID undid him because he's an idiot. He's a funny one, but he's an idiot nonetheless. And Rishi Sunak was basically just made the Prime Minister in name only. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. So now I've bleated on for a good 15 minutes. So that debate last night, Trups.
Oh, God.
I'm going to sip my whiskey for a second. How'd you score it?
How do I score it? Well, I think I would have to...
Let's say if you're going to score it between 1 and 10 for elder abuse.
Oh, fucking 10. Oh, my God.
Oh, I watched it. I actually have watched it because Cog was streaming it. He might still be. So I put it on while he was doing commentary and I was watching it as well. But I didn't take any breaks or stops, so he fell behind. So I was just watching it before we streamed, and Biden did have some good moments. It can't be done. He had some moments.
So, as a kind of like a pre-context, I did not originally anticipate watching this. So
I didn't either. I forgot it existed.
The reason why I didn't want to was because it was all I had heard about, and I was just like, okay, look, I don't care. You guys are just going to say whatever you want to say. You're going to end up lambasting Trump. It's on a private network, this, that, and the other, right?
No audience as well. Come
right.
on.
I thought it was going to be boring as shit.
Something which Biden thanked the audience for. I saw that.
Right. I thought it was going to be absolutely god awful.
It was great.
I was happily mistaken.
Was it better than 4 years ago? Because we watched it 4 years ago, one of them anyway, and we sat here and we said Trump annihilated him.
Yes.
It
I
looked like
do think that the quality of the debate was better.
So I think one of the main reasons why is because this time they let each the panelists, the hosts, or whoever the divs in charge, actually let everyone speak. They didn't like last time. Whenever Trump went back to a question that was previously asked, Biden answered, and he wanted to correct him. The hosts immediately derailed it to drive Trump back onto the question. In this, I will say, Trump did do something a bit. He got a bit obsessive over the previous question stuff, and that meant he had less time to answer the questions. But the hosts of the show, they actually gave him a bit more leeway to then answer the question, which he did.
True.
And MJ, thank you, Penguin, for the 5 gifted memberships. We really appreciate that here.
Oh, very, very much appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. But last time it was hostile. Oh, I do still think an audience is required. You can't do debates without them. We have them in the
Apparently
UK.
There still was a audience of sorts.
Okay.
And the only reason I say that is because very clearly, if you look at Elon's Twitter last night, there was a studio audience. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'd heard there wasn't going to be one at all, which is why. So I didn't really see the Twitter stuff because I was paying attention to something else for a video, Boogie's crypto scam.
Sure.
Because he's an idiot. So my attention was on that. I actually didn't know the debate was. I didn't know the debate had happened. Somebody mentioned it to me on Twitch yesterday. Said, "Are you going to watch the debate?" And I was like, "What debate?" Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Uh-huh." And then I saw it all over Twitter today. I saw dementia trending in the UK, and I was like, "Wait, hang on a second." And then I go to it and I see all these videos, and it was just Biden and Trump. So many accusations of elder abuse. Others saying, "Can we please have a different Democrat run because this is embarrassing?"
So there has been 2 camps of people's responses to all of this. Of course, one of them being, as you just described, please, for the love of God, can we run somebody else? This is awful.
Mm-hmm. Then the Mark
Those
Hamills.
people, well, those people I would argue are at least aware, right? They are existing in reality, albeit they are still corporate shills,
Well,
but at least
this is
they're
where
realistic.
the annoying thing is they'll still vote Democrat anyway, because
Yeah,
you have no choice. The other side to that is, as I mentioned, the Mark Hamills, who were saying that he annihilated Trump, and I'm sat here now having watched it, and I'm just like, no, he didn't annihilate him at all. It was embarrassing, really. The whole debate was better than last time, because actually, while I will admit, it was harder to discern what Biden was saying half the time, because he does slur, he does lose focus, his ability to hold, he needs a can of Monster or something, because man is not energized as much as he needed to be, and I felt that it was incomprehensible, incoherent half the time. And whenever he did that, frickin' Trump threw him under the bus for it. And that's what you should do. You see an opportunity, you throw. Something I would do. It's what you do.
Right, absolutely. And I think that on top of that, we also had, going back to the two camp people, the other type of individual who is present for this nightmarish situation is the absolute copiums, the Mark Hamills.
Yeah, Stephen King.
The Harry Sissons. Those people, I think, are willfully... Either they're getting paid good money, right?
Do they need the money? Jeez.
Or they are just insane. I don't know what the difference is.
So I will say that I'm not going to totally say Trump did well on this, because there were some statements he made that I didn't have time to fact check. But I had seen a lot of people just say blindly, he lies. And that's something that was said right at the end by Biden's wife, who spoke like a kid's TV presenter in the most patronizing voice to her husband. You did really well. You answered all the questions. You got the math right. What does Trump do, everyone? He lies. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can cringe. My eyeballs are actually leaving my face. I can't cringe anymore. They've left. Mm-hmm. Oh shit, this isn't good. It was a weird one. Okay, so if you were to summarize the performance of either, and I know you have a little bit of a bias, but do you think Trump did better than Biden?
Yes, I do. I think that he had a much better control of the situation. I think that he had, on average, more coherent answers.
Right.
I think that he displayed a certain amount of wit with how he was presenting information when he did. Yeah, I would say that things by and large went very well.
Yeah.
For him.
So we'll get into some of that soon. I had a follow-up question. What was it? Do you think the host... Oh, it was the hosts. Because I want to get into some of the issues they discussed in this. Do you think the hosts of this put on a better performance than last time as well? Because I don't know if it's the same crew or not, but these guys seemed more willing to allow both to discuss.
Yes, but yes, I do think they did better. Not for lack of trying, though.
Okay, so that is something we can
try to help him.
There was some leading, I noticed.
Yeah.
Some of the questions felt a bit loaded on purpose because it was leading to another thing, like the discussion of January 6th. There was a piece of fallout that intrigued me. Immediately afterwards, Harris was speaking to Anderson Cooper. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
I have never seen a half-wit go to bat blindly, even when Anderson Cooper says that performance was dog shit. Like, straight up, he said that performance was bad, and she's like, but it's one day. And yet people, that's one of the most pathetic things you could say when the debates are so important in your presidential camp. Like, the debates are everything.
They are, and like, okay, giving Kamala the benefit of the doubt, like, yes, they are correct. One day should not stymie an entire campaign. The problem is that no one believes this is just one day. Everyone
That's
is
the thing, isn't it?
aware. Yeah,
Because they
everyone is
could,
aware that this is a long time coming,
yeah.
but they have been lying about it.
So this is interesting because they'd say, yeah, you say it's one day, but that's at the most crucial point where you need to not be that. He couldn't not be. He did it 4 years ago. Like, you can't, and all the recent gaffes have done him no favors.
Mhm.
So you now can't say it's one day because it's one of many days put together. You can't keep fobbing this off. When it came to the numbers being released, and it's on the thumbnail, 67% said Trump won that. Going into it, I think Biden ahead 55-45 originally? They thought that was who was going to win. Biden was going to win. Like,
I'm not sure about what the prediction was beforehand.
I need to let a dog out of this cabin, so can you just talk
fine.
while I'm gone?
Yeah, absolutely. But regardless, I think it was 15 or 20 minutes in, was the point in which the prediction market started to swing horribly against Biden, and Trump's was going up, and honestly, it was a combination of his presentation, this hoarse voice that he had going on, which wasn't explained until 30 to 45 minutes into the debate, in which the campaign came out and said, "Oh, by the way, Biden has a cold," which is, if that's not the largest amount of copium I've ever fucking heard, and also really freaking convenient, that one would make that comment right then and there. Um, yeah, I'm not so sure that it was true. That being said, that wasn't even one of the biggest issues. Like, yes, okay, the voice was hoarse, it didn't sound good, but it was his presentation all over the place, right? It was him hanging his mouth open between
Every time Trump was talking
comments.
to him.
Oh my god.
That was
terrible.
Do you remember when? Okay, so this would be, if anyone remembers this from 4 years ago, the Biden and Trump had a debate, and at one point Trump unleashed just an absolute tirade at Biden, and Biden looked at him, and I said he looks like a granddad that needs to stop, because he looks like he's getting beat. It looks like a literal version of punching down. He said during the debate he ran because of Charlottesville. He ran because of that. He ran because of the rise of Nazi racism and all that. I'm like, that's not why you ran. You ran because you were the only one they thought could beat him.
Right.
Trump said it was his last chance to run as president. That's why he did it. I don't think that's true either. I think he was sat quite calmly back and they realised that Biden was the only one with an approval rating high enough to possibly go against Trump.
True. The other thing that I think was important to note was that Trump even had said at one point, like, I didn't have to run, but because you made it a thing, I am going to run. Because you are involved, because whichever, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is because of how badly he ran the country, is what Trump had said, is why he made that comment.
Well, Biden did say that outside the US, everyone adores America, and I was like, and my first thought was, no, we think you're a third world country that treats its people as if they're less than third world, and don't even get me started on how you treat your animals. Like, fam, don't get me started. Like, you cannot continually regurgitate these same big ass talking points of how amazing your country is. How the way you treat your veterans is a great example of how little you actually care. They spoke a lot about equity, Biden did, and I was sat here like, basically, you've just polished the term affirmative action, but now we give $10,000 to help Black Americans get on their housing ladder. I'm like, okay, where's that 10 grand coming from, you sausage? You're busy giving billions away to Ukraine. And the Ukraine discussion was hilarious as well, because Trump's solution was simple. As president-elect, I'll stop it.
Yep.
And Biden was like, I had to rejoin the Paris Accords because, and because yeah. And Trump's like, I left because we were wasting money. No one else was putting anything into it.
Mm-hmm.
He did it out of spite. He only rejoined because of spite.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, Trump actually hit him quite well on a lot of the functional issues of his presidency.
Yeah.
Things like immigration. Oh my God, the immigration thing that he made the comment. Ooh.
Biden did say he was doing more for immigration, and Trump said, "Yeah, you've done it in the last 2 weeks, and you did it by like equivalent to putting your index and your thumb barely an inch apart, micro penis territory. You did that much." I saw that quite clearly, and I thought, yeah, because at the point in the 4 years Biden, in the how many years Biden's been in office, immigration has gone through the roof. Under Trump, it was nowhere near that. Biden replied with stuff about the economy tanking under Trump, and I was like, yeah, it tanked because of COVID and lockdowns. It didn't tank because of policy. It tanked because, lockdown was a policy, but you know what I mean. It was that world freaking pandemic bullshit.
True.
And by the way, he said that Trump gets another term, we'll have a recession. Yeah, because he'll inherit it from you, because of all the damage you've done with inflation and cost of living. Something which you're not addressing.
Will stop reporting things as if they're, lies. No one's going to be doing the lie for him anymore because Trump will be in office.
So, Warsmith, I'm not playing the debate because I can't. I will get a copyright claim on it. I would love not to.
Not.
I knew to be honest, I couldn't risk it as well as trying to work out how to balance the audio on the OBS here because I've never set it up on this.
Yeah, I understand.
And to then have the audio go through Audacity as well. I don't have this set up for that.
I understand.
So I've never done it, and it would just completely fuck up. I do apologise. But I think talking is easy for us. We can TED talk our way through this for another 28 minutes.
Oh, totally. Now, I will say that one of the, I think the best zingers that Trump got on Biden was talking about when talking about immigration was the fact that he mentioned the recent killings, the girls who lost their lives.
Yes, I'd heard about that.
Trump goes out and says, "I've called the families. Biden hasn't. Why?"
I honestly thought you were going to say the Medicaid thing where Biden fumbled and said...
Oh, that too. We'll get there too. But I think more substantive-wise, I think that, well, yes, that's very clear and obvious to everyone else. I think if you're looking for a policy thing and like a character situation, then of course you look at the statement that he had made towards or about immigration. And actually talking to the families, and you will look at that and go, wow, that's a bit different, definitely.
But didn't that happen with the girl a few months back that was harmed? Trump called the family. He wrote a letter and people mocked how he spelt the person's name.
I remember the situation, yes.
Yeah.
That was also quite bullshit.
It was a bit of a petty point, because he actually, if you looked at the handwriting, you realised he didn't misspell the name. His handwriting is ass, that's all it is.
True.
But he actually called the families every time. That's, no offence to anyone here, but mark of a good president is someone who actually cares enough to talk to the people.
Yep. And that's a hard thing for people to understand.
I don't like that.
No. It's not good because, of course, the situation that you end up leaving with is if you can't be bothered to actually speak to these people who have lost loved ones due to specifically his policies, then honestly just leave, just get out.
Yeah,
because it's ridiculous that you would even try to claim that any kind of statement or action done by him or his administration to try and curb immigration, it hasn't been functional. Everyone knows it. And yeah, I mean, there's just
Okay, so
there
let's
isn't a way to
let's
to
let's do a
go
devil's
there.
advocate here, because we have to
Okay.
try and be a little bit on the less, let's say Trump annihilated him train. What one thing did Biden get right?
Um, God, this is hard because
I thought it was when he stuck the pen in his ear or when he was fiddling with an earpiece.
no. So I think he probably came. He kind of came out originally like he started off better off than he ended, certainly.
He did that in the last
Um,
one 4 years ago because he seemed to. He starts off with a fair amount of energy, and that energy. And no offense intended, this must be an age thing for him because he's been
he
involved for
found
so
the
long.
debate area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He once he was like there, he just he kind of just give it 10, 15 minutes and he's done.
Yeah.
I'll give it a decent
And
pop.
the problem is that there's not a whole lot of good that I can say that he did do because of just how badly his performance actually was.
So, as president, is there anything he's done that you support at least?
I like the CHIPS Act.
What's
I
the
thought
chip?
that was a great.
What's the
CHIPS
CHIPS
Act was
Act?
basically that since we invented a lot of the computer chips that are commonly used,
Yeah,
for whatever reason, we don't produce them in our country.
you should.
Right, we should. That's correct.
Shouldn't
And-
outsource that crap. That is make America great. What?
Yeah, well, right. That was then something that was then talked about and
I bet that's a cost
Standing
thing,
on.
though, isn't it?
sure.
When
It's
they put it
also,
abroad.
well, absolutely, it's a cost thing, but it's also infrastructure here, talent, specifically people who know how to make them.
But that's where
There's a
training comes
training-
into it.
Yeah, but there's a spin up time for that. So like,
I remember I worked in a factory that made capacitors and chips. I worked in that because I used to be a phone technician. I did a lot of soldering or soldering, as you
yeah,
idiots say. I did a lot of soldering. I then did, for about 3 months before I left Norwich, I did this the chip manufacturing, and there is some skill involved. There were some jobs that were a bit benign, like putting the chips into vacuum seal packaging in certain trays. That's fine. Fine. The chip part, yes, not the easiest. The PCB is hard to work with sometimes, depending on the thickness of the board. Of course, it gets complicated. You don't want to overheat it. You need the right temperature. You don't want to leave it too long. I get it. However, the training involved isn't too complicated. It just involves steady hands and someone who doesn't have ADHD.
yeah.
No offense
feel that.
intended. No, I get it because I lose focus quite easily too. But then, back then, give me enough caffeine and I am fine.
Right, and also, hope to God that like the person who is handling that is.
And I
also
think
on
that
top of their-
that having these jobs back in your country would be great, especially as the job markets evolve, as they do. They evolve with society and technology. Machines do a lot of the work these days. You need the engineers to fix those. As more and more other areas of employment become more mechanized or robot-used things, that, whatever you call that, you need to have other job markets that anyone can go into. And yes, if that means something a bit more technical, then so be it. And if this CHIP Act benefits the American people, that's great, because we all need something to elevate the third world. Hello, Harlequin. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're well. How you doing? Carry on.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of like just his presidency, yes, I quite liked that aspect of what he did for us. Certainly.
Okay.
But the problem is that during the debate, and this is why I really actually quite appreciate CNN for having put on this debate. We have finally been able to show other people the things that we knew, being media junkies, watching politics all the time. We got to now see the vast majority of people understand what it is we're talking about. No longer did they have to, or were able to get it spun from their respective sides.
Right.
they had to listen to what Biden actually said. And that was the worst thing that they could have asked for.
So when I was listening to Cog, he was leaning into his headphones. Even though he had headphones on, he was leaning into like his speakers with headphones on, so he could try and hear, as if he was right next to Biden's mouth, so he could try and understand what he said. And I genuinely understand that, because you can't go into these debates and fumble or mumble. I'm sorry, but we had debates in this country, and both, while I think one was reading too much from a script, and the other one was just calmly the underdog, they were both very easy to understand. In this, one of them has a weaker voice now. His voice is clearly diminished, that being Trump's. His voice doesn't carry that oomph it used to have, and that's understandable. He's getting older. The other guy is a bit older, and he sounded even worse because he couldn't finish sentences. Like, it really was bad. And he did have some moments where he was talking about January 6th, but he based it on the fact that, he based some of the things about Afghanistan, the January 6th thing around a general or something, a general who'd been fired for lying.
Suckers and losers thing.
Yeah, the guy who had lied, so he got fired.
Right.
The academics that all said that Trump was the worst president in history, yet if you look up each other's academics he cited, each one of them is a Democrat donor. I looked that up, so don't try me, right? He based the January 6th thing on information that Trump started it, yet it was later discovered by other people that and had to be it was actually confirmed that Trump didn't start it.
Right.
In fact, what he said in that debate was the words he used included peaceful, and people ignored it. But let's not talk about. Obviously, we can't talk too much about that because we get into trouble with YouTube, who seem to be on a very clear side with that one, and COVID and the election itself. Yeah, there's no bias. No, Biden's responses were very much reliant on just calling Trump a liar. Simple as that. But a lot of things he called him a liar for can actually be proven or disproven. That's not to say Trump told the truth all the time, because obviously he doesn't. But when you two geriatrics debating, that's basically how
old man yells at cloud.
I want to see Trump and Biden do a race, like the old grandpa guy who kicks his friend's legs out from underneath him and then wins the race. I'd like to see that.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to see that fucking. Okay, so somewhere during this like later on in the debate, they started talking about their personal fitness, right? And of course, that was talking about Donald Trump's fitness, but all cognitive, but also physical.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking hilarious when they started talking about golf, and they started mentioning about how Biden has only a 6 handicap, and they started yelling, "I want to see a driving off by those two presidents. Please let me see it."
The only thing I wanted to see more than this was for the girl who said "Huck to a spin on that thing," come up on stage and try and fix the debate by doing that.
That poor girl.
Honest to God, I fucking love her. I think she's amazing. Huck to her for president, everyone.
Oh, Jesus.
And spit on that thing. How are you going to fix the Middle East? Huck to her, spit on that thing. How are you going to fix Israel and Palestine? Huck to her, spit on that thing. I think it's the greatest idea ever. You've written in the chat, Warsmith, he's a liar, a felon, he should be ineligible to run. The crimes involved, Warsmith message. Ineligible to run, it's a tricky one. Because liar can apply to literally any politician. Like, literally any politician these days. I'm sorry. She's too young. Oh, no! We have to wait another 20-odd years, or 25 years, maybe 30 years, and she can hop to her.
Probably 15. Let's just presume she's 20. It'll be like 15.
Oh, 15. Sorry, my mistake. I thought
35.
I thought the age was a bit higher. Not her age. I mean the age for running for president. Yeah, I forgot about Obama being quite young. My mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care. It's all crashing down. That's true, and you do have Castro in charge. That's fair. I think as an outsider like you then, Warsmith, you can appreciate that it's amusing to watch America debate like this, because we don't do it in the same way. We do the debates, but ours are based not on the person in charge. Yet the person in charge does the debate. We based our system on those with the most number of representatives, and their leader is then the prime minister. Not how you guys do it. And it's
not how we do it.
No, yours is all very theatrical, and that makes it much more interesting. Ours is very old and dated and fine, really, because yeah.
So to the liar and felon thing. So I would ordinarily agree. Liar. As you had said, every politician is a liar.
One that isn't.
The felon thing is complicated because the initial conviction is going on, but appeals have not been resolved, so we can't say for certain that it's going to end that way. That's giving your opinion the highest of credibility as I can. The other possibility is if you do believe that he is being politically persecuted and therefore prosecuted, then you would look at the felony as a situation in which somebody is abusing the system in order to keep somebody out of office. But ironically, there is actually nothing in our Constitution that says a felon can't run. So the ineligibility for president would have to be based in some sort of law, and this has never happened before. So the should is at this point merely opinion.
Yeah, it's a complicated one. It's a tricky one to navigate. Okay, so perhaps we should address some of the issues in this debate. First of all, let's talk about let's talk about Biden's poor performance. Yeah.
Sure.
Right. He muffled. He was trailing off.
Yep.
Yeah. On an abortion question, he said he would bring back Roe v. Wade, which he can't do unless he increases the size of the Supreme Court with people that solely vote the way he wants them to vote. The president does not have the power for this.
This is so horribly complicated in the way that he tried to explain. Yes, I hear what they're saying. Right, it is remarkably complicated because let's quickly think about what does it mean to reestablish Roe v. Wade? On the face of it, presuming no other change, is a Supreme Court ruling that basically established the 3 trimesters, that basically eliminated if you take the Casey decision as well, that can also mean different things, which is the thing that allowed abortions in certain trimesters. That actually established the trimester theory. But basically, Roe was a protection for doctors, and then Casey was a protection for trimesters, or had more explanation on trimesters.
Okay.
If we presume that he is going to reinstate Roe, that means he wants a Supreme Court decision to find the thing that Ruth Bader Ginsburg said was founded in bad law back established. Okay. If we take that's what he said, but let's presume what he meant. Okay. If we think that what he meant was that he wants to enshrine the right to have an abortion in federal law, that will require an act of Congress. He can say executive orders, but executive orders are supposed to expand upon how the law is interpreted by individual law enforcement agencies, but that law has to be established somewhere, which means that somewhere, somehow, a law needs to be written.
Right.
Therefore, we need Congress to do something.
Okay, so I want to query something all is written in the chat. I'm going to read the comment. Yeah, but the Supreme Court is now uneven in representatives between Democrats and Conservatives, and the reason that's the case is because the Conservatives actively repressed the ability of the Democrats to appoint representatives, besides which they can actually veto them if they wanted to, and it has been done before. Now, with regards to representatives of the Supreme Court, I've noticed as mentioned just now by Trups. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, what was she?
She was a Democrat.
Okay. And she mentions it was written in bad law. That's interesting, because then that tells you this is less
looked
about
up her things.
this is less this is less about political persuasion and more about abiding the Constitution. Roe v. Wade was never that was the point. It was it was unconstitutional. It should be done by the states and not by the federal government. And yes, that does mean some states are going to disagree. That's obviously not ideal if you support abortion. I understand that, but this is not that. And that you earlier mentioned, this is where Biden undoes himself. This is a very complicated subject, very complicated. And certainly as an outsider, we see this differently. And I'm sure you all can agree here. We do not see it the same way. Of course not. However, to play to Biden's strengths, he needs to talk less. Because when he gave shorter answers, he was able to speak. He made a point. He didn't make the greatest point, or the strongest, and nor did Trump when he had chances as well, because he got obsessed over the previous question. That undoes him as well, because it left him less time to actually give good answers to the current question. But in Biden's case, his brain doesn't work enough to even go back to the previous thing without just calling Trump a liar, and then wasting the rest of his time or stopping to then be reminded, which is what happened multiple times, that he still had time left to answer the question or give a rebuttal. Where he'd given a rebuttal that was short and had plenty, like he had 47 seconds left or something to give a response. He didn't know what to do. He then just carried on talking about what his government had been doing. But what his government had been doing was the following. They failed to get through Build Back Better because his own party didn't actually agree on it. Senators, more notably, I believe, was one in Arizona? Yes. Right, he had 2 in the Senate that didn't agree to it. Right? Because it had other stuff in the Build Back Better thing that shouldn't have been there.
Yes. Unfortunately, omnibus bills is very commonplace in our government.
And understandably, this proves another point that it doesn't matter if you're unevenly represented or not. Even your own party aren't always going to back you if you try and slip things in they do not agree with, because it doesn't work for their state or their people who they are voted in to represent. The other issue...
Case,
go on.
The Supreme Court doesn't have a constituency. They're supposed to be independent of all situations.
Yeah.
Like, they are supposed to be basically the arbiters of truth and justice above that of...
Removed from, yeah.
Yes. Above that of even constituencies. Their constituents are the U.S. people.
There are some on Republican and Democrat side who vote either way, who have shown a clear bias in the past. We know this, we've seen it, right? Honestly, who's my guest? We don't have a guest, it's just me and Trups, my co-host. Hope that answers your question there, Warsmith. You've been here for years now, haven't you?
Is it 3 years?
More than that.
Is it? Shit.
Oh
yeah, we've been doing this before COVID.
It's like 6 years, maybe 7, nearly. I don't know.
Oh God.
It's been a lot of episodes. Anyway, no, it's been a while. It's the Supreme Court is meant to be removed, but there is still those within a bias, and it sometimes does come down to party line voting. We've seen it, yes, on some issues. I've seen that. It's not ideal and not great when it looks like that anyway, but we cannot be certain that that is the true motivator of the individual, because that's not generally in our purview, is it? Justice is supposed to be blind, but it rarely is. New York is a great demonstration of that. It's not blind in the slightest. It's clearly fed up its own arsehole, while it's slowly choking under that delightful melting pot they have. That's not a melting pot in the slightest. I'm the straight, thanks, man.
That's what it's called. I'm sorry.
I prefer asexual. No.
Got it. You're an ace in the hole.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I respect my identity. And I back to the debate thing though. No, Trump's strength is that he can just waffle. He can talk, right? He was given the chance to do that as well, and he may not have liked what he said, but he still got to do it. He didn't get to do it as much last time. This was his chance to show that he can not only deal with the previous question or where he believes erroneous statements have come out, like shagging a porn star while married and all that, because that was an interesting comment. I don't know if it's true or not my business. Is that he
said no, but you know that takes it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it's a contestable one.
Sure.
Although didn't Biden also say having sex with a porn star is illegal?
He said he essentially alluded to it being morally reprehensible, saying that this is the guy that is trying to basically speak down to me, and yet he has done these morally reprehensible things. That was his point.
Yeah.
Whether or not what he said is a different story. I don't think he said anything quite well, let's be honest.
Yes, that's again why I believe his strength should have been to give a less is more approach. Whoever was giving him his answers did not do him any favours. The abortion thing was a big mistake. When they talked about the border, Biden made outlandish claims of doing stuff now, but doesn't deal with the fact millions have already crossed. And Trump did say, the only reason you did that is so you have more voters, especially because you're trying to give them voter rights.
Yeah.
Like, your job is... Go on.
In regards to the immigration thing, one of the things that I thought was appalling was that Biden had argued that Trump was responsible for the kids in cages thing.
That was
Which
happening
I thought
under
was mildly
Obama,
hilarious. Yeah, it was under Obama that the kids in cages thing actually happened, and that was a shock. I think, like, not shocking in the sense that, like, oh my god, I can't believe he said that. It's more like, do you not remember that this happened under your administration?
I think it's so. I'm just going to say now that presidents are expected to know so much what happens within a massive nation. I doubt, while dealing with the border issue, he had known anything about the kids in cages stuff, because he'd had to be briefed.
But this happened.
It's so much at
like
once,
what?
and he wanted to do that bloody. No, I mean Trump wanting to do that wall.
Oh.
So when people pointed it out to him, and he's like, you want to get rid of ICE because of kids in cages and separating families. Are you sure they're related? That was the main problem. And they're like, no, they're families. They look alike. Like, bitch, that's a bit racist.
Yeah, I know you're getting at, but
it's really stupid.
Yeah, it is. I don't necessarily know what is like the goal for like what Biden had to say about the border issue was a combination of things that the media has lied about, on top of the issue that Trump was responsible for things that actually Biden had done. So the kids in cages thing, the separating people at the border, catch and release was something that catch and release into Mexico specifically, not catch and release into our own country. Trump made sure to actually expressly separate those two things. These situations, right, are a little bit different than what they were trying to get at, in that Biden's immigration policy, fundamentally, if you look at what he's done since he's been in office, has been shit. In the first day, he signed 81 executive orders. One of those was ending catch and release. Another one was ending remain in Mexico. He stopped construction of the border wall. And after that, we had a whole lot of people coming through. And we definitely reaped some unfortunate consequences because of it.
Okay. I had a question about... okay, so when it came to the subject of Russia, Ukraine, Trump said that he will immediately, as president-elect, he will go into it and have a ceasefire dealt with instantly. When he was asked about the borders and the land Russia want to claim, he said, no, not happening. Biden responded by saying that Trump essentially supports this and wants a Soviet Union renaissance of sorts. He didn't say renaissance. But that's what he kept on saying about Ukraine situation, that Putin wants this, he's a war criminal, but he didn't give any solution for it. And Trump kept saying to him, but you're just throwing $60 billion at Zelensky every time. And I can't hate Zelensky for that. He's clearly a very good salesman. But I'd stop that.
The problem with the Ukraine thing is So the argument that Trump had produced was that under Trump's administration, Russia took no additional land. Under
It was under
Barack
Obama. It was
Obama,
it was Crimea under Obama, wasn't it?
it was, and under Bush, it was another piece of land.
Somebody
And now under Biden, there's more.
So somebody mentioned on Cog's stream that the reason Putin has been doing this is because of warm water pipelines or something.
Yeah,
And no
they
one was
don't have a warm water port.
I didn't know that, and that's fascinating. But just because you don't have it doesn't mean you should take it from someone else. That's what I think. And Biden's response to all this was, what's to stop Putin from going for Poland next? And I was like, bitch, you don't understand. First of all, as someone who is in the continent of Europe, I can promise you this. He's not going for Poland because he won't win. He went for
what's in Poland that he wants?
Zabrowka? I don't know. He could go. That's a Polish wine. Sorry, vodka. It's crap. It goes well with grape juice, and that's about it. No, he goes for Poland. He gets sent back by NATO. He gets sent back by Europe as an army because they're part of the EU. The EU will have to act. Ukraine's not part of the EU. So they don't have that protection. But every other nation in Europe would actually bother to do something about it. And that's important. He lost when he tried... Well, he didn't, but Russia tried to take Finland before and they got humiliated by it. Mm-hmm. They will not go for European nations short of missiles striking them and then losing more people. And just because he's got more North Korean soldiers to throw as lemmings doesn't mean they've got a decent army. He just got more fucking idiots to die.
There is no reason that he would want Poland. There's no reason. Like, I can understand
why...
That's all.
It's a landmass. That's all.
Right. Because consider what it would be like, and we've had this discussion a long time ago, actually. Mm-hmm. What would it be like to actually own the world, right? Like, the UK, obviously, has done that.
Yeah, we didn't give a shit. We just did it and stopped.
No, but imagine modern day, even if we split, the US and UK owned the whole world. Do you know how difficult it would be? And actually to keep everybody happy so that they didn't want to create a revolution, as well as making sure that everybody had the proper resources, it would be impossible. The larger that you spread out your country, your zone of influence, the harder it is to maintain that thing in the middle. Because you end up, this is how Rome ended up a lot of issues. And the more that you spread out, the harder it gets. Now imagine you take somebody in the modern era, especially people who have enjoyed what we would call freedom, and tell them, actually, no, you are no longer Polish. We are now, you guys are now Russians. You are going to believe in the things that Russians believe. And if you don't, we'll handle you by force. That's never going to be a valid option in today's world because
it won't work because of who's next door to Poland.
Well, that and modern warfare doesn't work that way anymore.
And also, as Orla's pointed out about the threat happy with NATO thing, I will repeat what I've just written in the chat. Threats mean nothing. Action means everything. Threats are a test to see if you blink or show your belly. Nothing more. And we, the UK, we've been threatened. We've been bombed in the past. We don't give a shit. Every single time we did the exact same thing. We kept calm and carried on. Just because people are less inclined to be what could be considered patriotic now doesn't mean we're not going to keep calm and carry on. Because if someone starts bombing this country, I'm still going back to work.
You did bomb Dresden.
They deserved it.
It was civilians.
I'll rephrase it. They deserved it. They brought it on themselves, fam. I'm sorry, but they were in the right place at the right time for a jolly good spanking.
They supported Adolf Hitler. Everyone deserves to die.
You trying to sound like Batman there?
No, don't be like this.
Don't be like this.
Where's Rachel?
That's pretty good. I like that. But yeah, no, we the British don't generally blink when it comes to threats. Honestly, even our soft ass politicians, they're not blinking. Why? Because we have defenses, and also we don't need as many troops to be effective. We've proven the point. We took over the world, and we didn't have as much either. We really don't need much to do it, honestly. But back to the debate, because that's the important thing. If you were to rate the performance of Biden out of 10, what would you give him?
2.
Okay.
Combination of the mouth agape, the looking around for the mysterious fly, which was how somebody else who I was on Discord call with at the time was describing it.
Yeah.
The
incoherent responses to long answers.
Incoherent responses, trailing off, having to be bailed out by Jake Tapper.
He almost got bailed out by Trump, who kind of held back.
He did.
Like, I'm sorry, we're not trying to fluff Trump here, but he clearly put on a better show, regardless of whether his answers were truthful or not. He put on a better show, so he has to be rated higher, and that was something felt by the audience polled by CNN. Hence the thumbnail where Trump got 67% of the vote. He didn't go into it with 67%. I believe it was believed Biden was 55% up to Trump's 45%.
Something like that, yeah.
It was carnage then, wasn't it? And he did.
Yeah,
so what I still maintain, the one thing that really undid Trump was that he had to go back every single time to go and answer something in what he considered an erroneous statement from Biden, to correct it, and then obviously embellish on his performance as president by saying everyone said he was amazing and amazing and amazing and amazing and amazing. That was wasting time, because then he didn't give the best answer he could give to the question being put to him, because that's a very obsessive trait he's always had, right? And yeah, he's definitely an actor. I don't think he's a puppet, but I think he's an actor. I don't think he'll lead the free world to death either. He gets 4 years. I'll be honest, we've seen what happened in 4 years with Biden. I don't think he could do much worse.
Right. I would give Trump, though, if I was going to rate him, I would give him probably like a 7 or 8, because of exactly the things that you had mentioned. But also because there were times where it kind of looked like he was just beating up on Biden, which did not look good.
No, it didn't. I that's why I felt he held back. And I just want to say, Trump's been in office for 4 years before. People were worried he was going to unleash hell with nuclear bombs.
Didn't do that.
The man did less carnage than the other two, either side of him. He's done less. The more damage done during his time was by people protesting against him by burning shops, while the reporter said, "Nothing to see here. It's totally fine and peaceful," while the flames engulf you. Like that meme went everywhere. He didn't do anywhere near as much damage as those that were deluded that he was even in office. And they spent most of their time, politicians that hated him, trying to impeach him with no proof at all, by the way. The Mueller report we covered extensively here. That Mueller report did not prove anything, and they still impeached him down party lines. We covered it enough. You can think of him as, and I know you're obviously taking the piss as well, just for the lols and all that, Warsmith. I'm not obviously taking a crap on you. But there are people who do think this, that Trump will be that guy. And he proved it in the first 4 years. He was nowhere near as destructive. Obama did more with drone strikes, and Biden's done more damage with the Afghanistan withdrawal.
True.
Trump is more unstable, but sadly Biden is incoherent.
Unstable also produces a certain amount of ability to make your enemies guess. Which I think is one of the reasons why Russia didn't dare take anything from Crimea. Especially because, according to Trump, take it with a grain of salt, he did say that if you did, I will bomb Moscow.
Thing is,
and then looked him in the face and said, "Yeah, okay, we'll do that."
Thing is, Putin did say earlier this year or last year, he said that he'd rather have Biden in office because he was more politically minded or something. And it was like, that's why I wanted on the international. But okay, presidents generally aren't meant to be doing the domestic stuff. They're meant to be doing the foreign stuff, while the House does all the domestic stuff, enacting the president's plan anyway for domestic anyway. So he's meant to focus on the international. On the international stage, Trump got North and South Korea to meet, something they hadn't done in decades. Biden took office and it never happened again.
Yep.
Trump set up a Middle East peace meeting between Israel and I think it was 4 nations in the Middle East, and they were willing to sit down and have discussions. He gets out of office.
UAE, Jordan,
Dubai.
I
can't remember. Maybe I don't know I can't remember all the nations, but he was setting that up. He got voted out. The moment he left, it never happened. And in fact, what have we got? Israel going to war with Palestine over something that Palestine should never have done in the first place.
Hamas. Yeah.
Okay, you're right to correct me on that. I appreciate that. Yes, that's a good... but that's an important distinction. Annoyingly, I had to say Palestine because they had a chance to become Hong Kong 2.0.
They did.
But they allowed Hamas in, and then they democratically voted for them. I know under threat, I understand that, but they had their chance to do better. They had the opportunity, and they didn't take it. And now they've been under the thumb of Hamas ever since. I don't blame the people of Palestine for what Hamas do to them. I do not blame them. But annoyingly, it happened. And now Palestine's an absolute mess. And Israel responded. Israel has no chill. And Biden's response is nonsense when it comes to this. But there was an opportunity years ago to deal with it, and he didn't take it. Instead, he went and signed about 50 vetoes to everything that Trump did, out of spite. Out of spite. But didn't he also want to give Iran their money back or something? The money assets that were frozen or something?
I don't remember.
It was some bullshit. I just don't see the... It pisses me off. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
we have hit our hour plus mark.
We're an hour and 11 minutes. Okay, we actually do have to end. I'm so sorry we've overrun, guys. Are we here next week, Trups?
No. I will be taking a vacation.
That's a shame, because the UK elections will be next week. That'll be on Thursday, but that's all right. Whenever you're back. When are you back? Because I'm not here the following week.
Then we'll be all back the 19th.
Yeah, I'm away on the 12th till the 14th, going to Norwich to go on the Norfolk Broads on a boat on the Saturday. You're away next week, so we're gone for 2 weeks then. Very well, Trups. Oh, that's going to be marvellous. You have to tell me about your holiday when you get back.
I will.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it. See you in 3 weeks, sorry. Have a wonderful weekend. Say good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.